I'm Angela Young, and I'm really excited to tell you about some of the perspectives I use in this form of coaching or guidance or whatever you want to call it. By title, I'm a conscious parenting guide, but also a spiritual awakening guide. I have over 15 years in the spiritual community, studying spirituality, practicing mindfulness and spirituality myself, but I'm also a parent of four. So a lot of those spiritual concepts and practices have been applied to parenting. And here we are. So I want to start and explain some of the perspectives that I live by. So the first thing is I believe that life is ultimately a dream. It's not really real in the way we make it. It's ultimately an illusion. And it's here to help wake us up to more of who we are. I am a full believer in the law of one, or the law of attraction, however you want to title it. I believe in effortless law of attraction, though. I don't think that we have to try very hard to manifest. I think it's an automatic thing that's already happening. What we really have to do is trust life, trust what's manifesting for us as our keys to our awakening. And what I believe awakening is realizing our deep-seated conditioning, realizing our negative beliefs, our perspectives that are basically out of alignment with how higher self sees things. So a lot of times life will mirror to us situations that bring up these negative beliefs, that make us feel really icky. We don't have to go searching for our shadow and just uncover it faster. There's actually a really intuitive and effortless way that it's designed, that we are designed, that life is designed, and that is to follow what is exciting to us, to follow what we're interested in, to really listen to that. And through following that breadcrumb trail, you are naturally met with anything that needs to be looked at. You're naturally met with your limiting beliefs, whatever it is, it naturally brings it up. So that's this effortless learning from life. Life really is our greatest guru. From this perspective, all of our life is like an oracle into self-discovery. There's nothing wrong with you for experiencing seemingly negative circumstances. It doesn't mean you're wrong or not spiritual enough or guilty of anything. They are actually your doorway into awakening. Another key concept in this is that anything is possible within this dreamlike reality. However, my style of guidance is not necessarily manifest $1 million in your bank account spirituality, or use the law of attraction to get the car that you think you want. I'm not saying those things are impossible. They're absolutely possible. It just means that the anything is possible thing is that everything that you need, everything that you actually need is already being manifested. So it's really a trusting of what manifests rather than a trying to control what manifests. It's not waiting till we get the symbol to give ourselves self-love or to think that we're good or worthy. It's actually finding our worthiness first and using circumstances that bring up any unworthiness to guide us back to our unworthy thought forms. So that doesn't mean that you don't follow what's exciting to you and you don't pursue what's exciting to you. It just means that you get really curious over why it's exciting to you, because it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to manifest something that you think that you want. It's always what's underneath. It's always the learning that you receive along the journey. That's what really matters. That's the only thing that you get to take away from this experience. The key really is to fully embrace what is, not try to dictate what is. And that's because life is a mirror, and it's mirroring to us what we really need. And our job is just to work on our perception. As our perception shifts, the mirror shifts. One of the main techniques I use is getting in touch with our emotional guidance system. Now, this is something that I believe most of the world has completely backwards, so we're probably highly conditioned to not see emotions in the way that we use them here in this practice. To me, emotions are our alarm bell letting us know the frequency of our thinking. Emotions are actually our indicator of how in or out of alignment we are with how higher self sees things. So when we feel a really strong negative emotion, it simply means we've lost our way in thinking. So I use a really transformative practice and a really simple practice for integrating and identifying our misaligned perceptions and bringing ourselves into alignment. Now, I want to clarify and say that this doesn't mean that when someone is necessarily like being mean to you, or you're in a situation that's really not of your preference, that the person is right and you are wrong. That's not how the emotional guidance system works. It just means that whatever it's triggering within you is your responsibility. And when we have used all of our life to bring us back to our perception of things and bring us back to where our negative beliefs are, which I believe the external is always a reflection of what's actually occurring within us. When we've done that work, then partaking and involving ourselves in situations that are unpreferable will simply be uninteresting, and we will move on. A lot of the work sometimes is why do we stick in these situations? Why are we giving these situations our attention and our involvement? Typically that's an indicator of a negative belief, actually, of being not worthy enough, or thinking that we need something from those situations, or that we can change people. There's so many things that it could be. But basically what I'm saying is there is actually a way to navigate contrast, to navigate the contrast of our manifestation and find inner peace while doing it, not necessarily fighting everything or making everything into a problem or making everything to be wrong. Those beliefs are actually what makes us feel suffering, not the circumstances themselves. The purpose of these practices are to get aligned with your inner guide and to integrate all of life as your teacher. It is not to blindly adopt belief systems or perspectives just because someone told you to believe them. It's always listening to your inner guidance and what resonates with you at the time. Whatever doesn't resonate, throw it out the window. In my 15 years in the spiritual community, I've come across my fair share of people who think that they know what is right for you or know what is best for you or think that it's their job to save you or change you. And yeah, although these experiences are a learning lesson in and of themselves, usually a learning about how to take our power back and to see where we have projected power outwards, and we can be very thankful for them. If anyone, myself included, tries to make you feel like you're less spiritual or builds you up just to tear you down with criticisms, or tries to make it seem like you need them because they're special or have it all together, thank them for the reflection, hang up the phone, walk out the door, say goodbye, and then don't look back. That being said, I do not believe that I have it all figured out at all. My process of awakening is an ongoing one. Although there have been moments of clarity, there have been these big moments of realization from time to time, my story is not one where it was like, oh, one day I just had this big experience and woke up enlightened. That is not my story. It is an ongoing integration of study, life experience, putting perspectives into practice, getting the feedback from life that is still going to this day. Every day I learn something new. So that's what I'm sharing here. I'm really sharing my experience and journey of awakening. So you might be wondering, how does this have to do with parenting and children? Well, the answer is everything, because these same laws, these same perspectives and beliefs work for children. The law of attraction and the law of one is very active for our children. In fact, our children are so much more than meets the eye. They're little infinite beings just having a human experience, playing the role of a child for us, So as much as we trust life and use life as our teacher, we can allow the same for our child. It's not necessarily about teaching our child how to be spiritual in the old sense. We can model spirituality, but it's actually about trusting their path as perfect for them and showing up as their unconditional supporter and guide when needed, but never assuming that we know more than their higher self. Now, that sounds kind of simple, but it's actually radically different than what the current parenting paradigm is on this planet, which seems to think that it's our job to mold children into an image that makes us feel like a good parent. In this practice, we actually allow children to be as they are and support who they are. And through that reflection of who they are, if it causes us pain, we use that to see into our own negative thinking, our own beliefs, and to find our awakening through our relationship with our child. Using these perspectives, anything that arises in our relationship with our child is co-created from a level beyond form. It comes from higher self, and it's something that is serving both of us in the highest good. So we see the role of a parent as both a teacher and a learner, a guide and someone who is guided. Now, that doesn't mean that our child is always right and we should be their doormat. Not at all. In fact, holding conscious boundaries is a huge form of learning within the parent-child relationship. As much as we are respecting their path, is also our job to respect ourselves within relationship. It's just that these boundaries are slightly different. The boundaries are not about controlling someone else's life or saying that you have to like what I like or prefer what I prefer. The boundaries are actually for creating a life of freedom for everyone involved, making sure that our environment is the most conducive for everyone's ability to create the life that they desire. As children go through their experience of following their bliss and creating and doing what they want to do, they naturally rub against others. It's a huge part of learning for children to realize that they can create the life that they want without robbing anyone else of their ability to create the life that they want. I'm a big advocate of self-directed learning. All 4 of my children are free self-directed learners. I'm also a staff person at a democratic school, which is where children basically are allowed to do whatever they want within boundaries, of course, with safety and stuff like that. But they are allowed to pursue what speaks to their heart. In a nutshell, the reason why this resonates is because we're trusting that life is the curriculum that children need, rather than projecting our own curriculum onto a child, thinking that we know what's best for them. It turns out that what's present, that means our emotions, our interests, the challenges and boundaries that we're pushing up against, holds all the keys to our learning that we need. We just need to become attuned with what's present. There's so much there. There's nothing lacking. While you don't need to practice self-directed learning yourself, your child does not need to be an unschooler to benefit from this style of coaching or guidance. What it does mean is that I'm not the best person to provide tools and tactics for children to perform better in traditional school. And I definitely do not encourage parents or even provide coaching towards coercing children to, get better grades or do what we think they need to be doing within the traditional school system. And that's because it's just not true for me. I often find, in fact, I almost always find that it's the traditional school system that is the problem, not actually the child. That the support they need is how to integrate what they're actually feeling within a system. I don't think that the system is completely bad. I actually think that life is perfect for all of us and we're all getting exactly what we need. So the tools really are to integrate what we're experiencing to find out how we can use it for our highest good. Overall, this style of conscious parenting is all about moving through the fear-based programming that this planet seems to be inundated with and moving into a paradigm of trust. We're moving through the illusion of separation as it pertains to children, which is really inspiring. We're seeing that they really are us. What arises between us in our relationship really is ordained from higher self. It's literally us bringing ourselves a gift. So we're using this container of parenting to wake us up to more of who we are. We're seeing that it is our tailor-made path to freedom, really. Freedom from our own limiting biases, expectations, and perspectives. Instead of controlling children to try to hide from our own egos or to, please our egos and our biases, we're actually using our child's reflection to make us more aware of our egos, make us more aware of our attachment to negative thinking. Now, I'm not saying that life's just going to become picture perfect and all the challenges are going to go away. It's more that you're going to fall in love with the challenges. You're going to fall in love at the opportunity that they bring you. And so we start to just see from a slightly different perspective. And it turns out that it turns out that how our child actually is and how our life actually is what we want. And that brings us joy. So thank you so much for listening. It has been really amazing to share these perspectives. And if it resonates with you, I'd be so happy to talk with you. Most of everything that I do is done by donation. So if this speaks to you at all, please just don't hesitate. Click on the link below, sign up for a session, and I can't wait to meet you.